This is a comic review of Titans. This was a UK comic weekly, and it lasted quite a while, quite a lot of issues. I've got a number of issues here, Titans issues, and the contents did vary slightly. So you had like the Fantastic Four, and also in this one you got like X-Men, etc. So it was, some got Captain Marvel, some have got other things. And I will go through these 3 issues. But the first one here, and this was unusual in the sense also that it put 2 pages. So this is obviously the American comic was spread over 2 pages there, with instead of just 1 page if you had it in our usual format, which would be that format. So, portrait. Now, I think the artwork is sort of ruined because of it. Also, panels are completely thrown because, of course, how do you read this? Do you read it all the way across? Luckily, they didn't cut it up and do it that way. That would have been terrible. At least they did show the entire page. But in a sense, it did make a sort of, they'd recross and then go up here and do that, which is not particularly a very natural way of doing it. Anyway, you've got the X-Men story. Now, I love the X-Men story. And of course, you notice it's in black and white as well. All UK comics were always in black and white. I thoroughly enjoyed the Titans one. And I bought many, many issues. I didn't buy them all. And this format didn't really last very long. I think beyond Marvel, I don't think anyone tried this format. So if a hostage should die, that's a Captain America story. So you had a great, again, black and white, of course. It's set in the World War II, but of course it was from the 1960s Marvel and not one of the timely issues. That would have been great. One thing I did love about these, we'd often have this. You'd have a poster. So you have a poster there, and this one's Warlock. Now, I'm not certain where that comes from. Now, if that was drawn from, or if that was a panel that was blown up, I just don't know. They never identified anything, unfortunately, so you could never tell. So there's obviously a Warlock story there. And then it says, next issue, The Hulk and the Silver Surfer, which is very unusual. Maybe it meant next issue, obviously issue 16. But was that just left over from the bit that it was just taken from? I don't know. And One Shall Die. This, of course, had Submariner. And it's really quite nice because the Submariner is one of those characters that, until fairly recently, hasn't really been many reprints of. You've had a few Marvel Masterworks and all those sort of things, but the Epic collections have been very slow to come out. So it's really nice that these reprints are available. And you can, obviously, the Essential Edition, but they didn't get very far. That was another trouble with these. Anyway, this is a great story with the Secret Empire. And the Hulk, of course, is involved as well. Now, this is slightly unusually drawn by one of my favourite artists, Bill Everett. Now, Gene Colan did the actual drawing, but Bill Everett did the additional inking. And you can always tell Bill Everett, there's always a certain style. As soon as you look at Bill Everett, you know it's Bill Everett. The same, of course, Gil Kane, one of my favourites. This is Captain Marvel. Brilliant. Obviously, at this point, we've got Rick Jones in the storyline. So I'm not certain what issue that was, 2021, that sort of period. So you've got that one. And then on to the last of these. And you had quite a lot. So normally in the UK comics, you get used to it. You'd have like the Avengers and maybe Doctor Strange. Avengers and Doctor Strange. And then when we did have Avengers, Doctor Strange and Masters of Kung Fu, that would mean 3. That would be it. But this had quite a few. So this was quite a, you got some money's worth with this one. And this one is Who Strikes at S.H.I.E.L.D. But this one obviously isn't the complete story. Continued next-ish, as it says there. And that was that. And you got 3 tip pens, fibre tip pens, no less. Actually quite hard to read that. So with Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Now on to the next one. Now this one is, that's 49, I will do that after. Now this is issue 22. And you've got the Adaptoid. But you can see you've got X-Men is still in the story, so you've got X-Men still there. And this one is against the Tyrannus and Moleman story. That period of the X-Men was pretty poor, I think. But still, at the time, this was a good story. Spider-Man was going to be in the next issue. And you've got Submariner again. And you've got Dan Adkins doing the artwork. I always quite like Dan Adkins, I must admit. So you've got It Walks Like a Man. Quite a massive creature there. Going through story. And Prepare Torpedoes. And yet another poster. And again, this, I am quite certain, this poster is definitely either made up from a lot of things. You've got the mix of Magneto, of course, Tumour. Weirdly, the Galactus, Thanos there with the Cosmic Cube, and also Krang, obviously, and Fu Manchu. So it's slightly unusual. I think that probably must have been mocked up by someone within the British UK department. Also, it's quite nice. You've got a letters page as well. So this to the British bullpen. So you've got, and he's got given a long list of things. Obviously, he gets the Foom magazine there. And also other ones there, talking about Titans. Boy, when I read the first and second issues, I was sold on getting it every week. So that was it. So that was how I felt as well. So this one, Adaptoid. So you got the Adaptoid story. Now, I loved the Adaptoid story. And then, of course, he became the Super Adaptoid. I don't think he's been used as much as he should have been, actually. I think he was one of those characters that I genuinely thought was pretty good. He could have turned up fighting the Fantastic Four. Could have turned up against the many other characters as well. Obviously, X-Men, there was a Super Adaptoid story. Now, another thing we also used to have as well, which was always slightly unusual, again, probably a panel from it, blown up out of all proportion, you had that. And that spread over that whole page was quite a big panel. And the Menace of Megaton, as it says there. So you actually had the story after that. And again, this is, I don't know who the artist is. So this is sometimes, Wayne Boring and Frank McLaughlin. So you've got that storyline, and then on to the last one. And this is, again, the mystery of them. This is, of course, S.H.I.E.L.D., got the S.H.I.E.L.D. story. So that was quite a good little, this was 22. And then on to, actually, I didn't show the last one. Now, this one I think is quite good because this has got the, and I think these are probably quite collectible now, 15 pence. You've got an advert at the back. So you've got advert and also Marvel Colour Up. I wonder how many of those still exist without being coloured up, unfortunately, or coloured. So, but I actually did buy that one. I had that one. I never had that one. Don't know why. I just obviously didn't think, I didn't want to waste time colouring the thing. So I have looked online and they do exist still. So it'd be interesting to see. I expect they go for a lot now. However, this is the issue 49 of Titans. And this one, as it shows, a change. So instead of the X-Men as the front, you've got the Fantastic Four, a monster's secret. You've got the story there. And again, it's still doing exactly the same approach with the 2 pages on a thing. And you've got here, this has got a list of here, Captain America, Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Submariner. So that tells you the contents of this one. Obviously, it's John Romita one presentation. Jack Kirby had left. So you had this story of Fantastic Four. And again, it was the full comic. So you had the whole lot there. Also, I love the ad for the Mighty World of Marvel, starring the Incredible Hulk and Avengers. So you've got that one there. Submariner, this was Gene Colan's story. And this one was The Choice and the Challenge. So story there. Again, the same sort of. Of course, this was in Tales to Astonish. It was only fairly short anyway. So this was like 8 or 9 pages, 10 pages at most. So you actually had the entire comic again in this. This one I love, I have to say, and maybe it's staring in my face, the world's newest and greatest superhero. He's new, all different, he's different, he's all British. Coming soon. Now, was that Captain Britain? The silhouette doesn't look like Captain Britain to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe it's Captain Britain. I can only assume it's Captain Britain. However, weirdly, another one that's slightly unusual. And this is Kazar. Now, again, this is quite a large, widespread shot of Kazar tackling, obviously, a dinosaur there. And it's by Wenzel and Yolland, maybe. But it's got the, obviously, Kazar, the standard Kazar logo down there. But it's just odd. Obviously, a British, I assume someone drew that up. I don't know why I did post this. Did people take, I can't imagine anyone would take this out because, I mean, you're ruining your comic. I know, well, let's just see. Yeah, you wouldn't ruin the comic in terms of the stories, but because you got the letters page there, but it would seem a bit odd to rip them out. I certainly never rip them out. This one has got, of course, brilliant Steranko, Jim Steranko. He wrote and drew the script. and Final Encounter. So you've got that story. And again, you've got this another one of these lovely ones. I love this one. Super Spider-Man Roadshow is coming your way. It's Roadshow. I didn't go to that. But of course, it didn't come to my local town. Lots of it seemed to be South Shields, Nottingham, Doncaster, Leeds, St Helens, Wigan. Most unusual. Not really much in the south there at all. So you've got Spider-Man Roadshow there. And also, again, you've got this absolutely massive panel again. As Captain America, which is very unusual, absolutely unusual. Alone against the Exiles. Now that was one of the later Captain America stories, of 101, 102, I can't remember in America. But it's just odd that they would do this huge, and to be honest, that does not look like Jack Kirby's artwork. So I assume again drawn by a British, maybe someone. But you got the Captain America story, and then weirdly you had the Ghost Rider. I must admit, the Ghost Rider stories really never did very much for me. So Ghost Rider, and this was against Zodiac 2 story apparently. So it was really good, and this another advert on the back for Frosties. I really love the Titans magazine, but I must admit I can see the imperfections now. It's just not as good because of the way it was done. They obviously shrunk the size. It's still, I loved it at the time, and I still love them now. I must admit, it's just great fun just looking through these brilliant, lovely old issues of Titans.